This is Mike with Ideas by Mike. Today, we're going to summarize the first year of Stories, Resources, and Ideas. Stay tuned as we recap all we did in this previous year of Stories, Resources, and Ideas. Hey, this is Mike with Ideas by Mike. We have had such a great year of actually doing our podcast. Mark and I have had such a great time understanding and seeing where we have come as not only a company but a country through looking at and analyzing so many stories and seeing where those stories have gone and led people in life. And so we're going to actually do what many shows and many series do and put a finale on this first season as we transition into the summer months. And just talk about some of the stories that have been most impactful to me from this last year. And then share with you just some really great resources and ideas that are coming for the new years. I heard something that was very impactful to me just recently. That's one of my mentors said, just because you don't know something doesn't make the facts irrefutable. So often we put things aside because we don't want to hear the truth about what a situation is. And because of that, we actually don't identify what the real facts are. So we had that happen so many times in the 20 plus stories we heard throughout this whole season. And I want to bring a couple just to your attention again. We heard early on from a radio broadcaster named Scott Drake, who works out in Scottsdale, Arizona now, from within insurance marketing organization, where he talked about his career path and heading into what he considers to be a strong retirement, but realizing that he was ill prepared. He made a career change that propelled his story even further to what is going to be a pretty successful retirement. We then heard a story of firsthand account of a story from Jim Fisher, who through working in the restaurant business with his brother and then eventually leading into business coaching with some of the biggest companies in America, ultimately to the creation of his own company and his own brand, has propelled his story in a way that I can't wait to see what the future holds, but propelled to a story of success. Then we actually heard stories of Sarah, who was a 30-year-old on her way to be a multimillionaire, from a early diligent savings plan to really a sad story of a young lady who was in her 60s that upon hitting retirement found out that she had stage 4 cancer and her life was going to be cut very short. See, these stories, of which everybody has one, are unique to them, from Scott's story to Sandy to Jim to even Robert, who is going to embrace on having a child this year with his partner when they get married in October. These stories are all unique, and that's what's really fun about the creation of this podcast. On Stories, Resources, and Ideas, we explore stories. And I would encourage you to go back and listen to any of them. But the one that's most impactful to me, and this is how we started the podcast, was my story. And my story is about a young man who grew up in a small, no-name town in America, in North Carolina, who got to sit around the dining room table with his grandmother, who really encouraged me to be an entrepreneur. She encouraged me that I should count every yeah, that too, but every penny, nickel, and dime. And at the young age of 11, I became her chief financial officer by helping her open her first bank account. It led me to this path that I'm on now, where every day I get to help people manage their money. See, my granny really had very limited resources, but what she taught me is that there's power in a story. Her story was about putting collards between two pieces of fried cornbread, throwing it with some fat back on top, saran wrapping it and taking it lunch site to lunch site to lunch site for construction workers, and eventually festival to festival to festival. And when she started that business in her 60s, it propelled her and made her financially sound for the rest of her life. My grandmother's story is about resourcefulness, and that's how I came up with the resources part of stories, resources, and ideas. See, my granny's resources were very limited. The reality is when most people think of the story I'm telling around a dining room, they see a 3 or 4,000 square foot house where the dining room is separate. But the reality is my granny was in a 700-800 square foot trailer that the dining room was an eating kitchen where the kitchen was only 7 feet by 8 feet. And there was a small table in there that we did all this work on. So my granny took the resources from her garden and some cornmeal and turned it into a business. And that was her greatest idea. The idea was a collard sandwich. See, folks, I think everybody has a story that needs to be told. And that story means something to you. But there's a lot of people that it just doesn't mean anything to. Your story's unique. And when you harvest the power of your story and then identify the resources that'll enhance that story and then create partnerships with people that can put ideas with those resources, you can do anything. It may be creating collard sandwiches in rural North Carolina or changing careers from news organization to financial services or leaving Fortune 500 companies to start your own business or saving money to become a millionaire early in life. See, a story that's properly identified with great resources and ideas that are built can turn ideas truly into a powerful life and money. So it's been great going on this journey with you for the last year. And I look forward to coming back with all new stories, identifying new resources, and creating new ideas as we take the summer off, but bring that back to you in the fall of 2022. So have a great summer. Happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. We look forward to all the sunburned folks coming back to us in the fall, having had a great time recharging yourself so we can really, really help you identify that story, make it powerful, identify some resources, and turn ideas into money. Have a great summer. We'll see you soon.